Hey, welcome back to the Living in Vancouver and Camas, Washington YouTube channel, and today we're going over pros and cons of Camas, Washington. You've probably heard the hype of Camas, Washington. So what's the deal with that? We're going to go over that today, and I'm going to give you all my thoughts on Camas. Hey, I'm Hannah Dubine, and today we are talking about Camas, Washington. If you are at all thinking about moving to Clark County, Washington, I know you've heard about Camas, you've heard about the schools, you've heard about how awesome it is, you've probably heard about how expensive it is, and today we're gonna go over just general pros and cons, and I'm kinda gonna give you my thoughts on living in and I do business in the city, so hopefully this is helpful to you in deciding if Camas is right for you or not. Let's get into it. First statistic I wanna talk about is the median household income. In Camas, the median household income as of most recently is $112,000. That is a lot, and it's by far the most of any suburb in Clark County. And if we're comparing that to Portland, which is our big metro area nearby, Portland's median household income was about $70,000. Camas, $112,000. So that's a really big difference as a percentage. Now, along with that, that also means that Camas is the most expensive place to live. This is by far the most expensive suburb to live in Clark County. I just checked the numbers today, and the median sales price for January of 2022 was $725,000. In Vancouver, Washington, it's in like the high 400s, in like the 490s right now. So that's a really, really big difference. Another important thing to touch on in Camas that I think makes it really special is the homeownership rate. So as of most recently, the homeownership rate in Camas is 77%, which is super high. In Portland, it's more like in the 50%-ish range, and I couldn't find a statistic on Vancouver, but I'm thinking that's probably somewhere in between those two. But a homeownership rate of 77% is really high. We know for a fact that when people own whatever it is they're using, whether it's a house or possessions or whatever it is, they take better care of it than if they were to rent it or to borrow it from someone else. It's just a fact of human nature. And what that means for Camas is that the neighborhoods and the homes are well taken care of, which helps lift everyone's property values up, which we love. And this is a really big one. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you pay attention to this, but the schools in Camas, Washington are some of the best in the entire country. Now, you can go look at all the different sites and they'll probably have them in a little bit of different spots, because at the end of the day, it is opinion. However, Camas always ends up in the top, and when I help people move to Camas, one of the things they're always telling me is we're here for the schools, we're here for the schools, and that helps hold property values, and it brings great families to the area, which is awesome. Another great thing about the schools is since Camas is small, right now population's about 23,000, that means the school district stays small, and when things stay small like that, they usually are better managed. Portland School District is, I believe, the biggest in all of Oregon, and things can get out of control fast when you have a big group of people. If you have watched the news at all in the last 2 years, I'm sure you've seen something about homelessness and riots in Portland, which is absolutely terrible. But that's another thing I want to touch on is, I guess, the homeless crisis in Camas versus more like Portland. So Portland right now has about 40,000 homeless population that are living on the streets. If you drive over to Portland, you will see lots of graffiti, tents, camps on and off ramps for the freeways. But in Camas, you do not see that. I've never seen that in all my time that I spend there every day. The population as of the last count was 133. I think that was a couple years ago. But you just don't have homeless people in Portland, and those people are probably people that are maybe living in cars, or they're in shelters, or they're with family members on their couches. And so that's a really great thing as well to uphold property values and just make the community a nice place to be. Camas, the city of Camas definitely cares about taking care of those kinds of issues, and that's just a good thing for everyone. Another amazing pro of living in Camas or Clark County in general would be that we don't have income tax, state income tax that is. Of course, we have federal, but that just helps you save another 5 to 10% in your pocket. When I help people move in from Oregon or California, they get a raise, which is awesome. And I mean, that's not to be overlooked, especially if you're a high earner. One thing I've noticed living and working in Camas is that most, if not all of the neighborhoods in the city are really well taken care of. It is small, there's only 23,000 people there, so there's not as many neighborhoods as Vancouver or Portland, but you do get ebbs and flows in Portland, and you do get ebbs and flows in Vancouver as well. You know, you may be in one neighborhood that's really nice, and then you drive a mile and you're somewhere else that just is really dilapidated. And in Camas, it's pretty rare to find those neighborhoods that are not taken care of. Now, the root cause of why everything is so well taken care of, I probably couldn't say. I'd say it's everything together. It's the school districts, it's the income, it's the pride of ownership, the small community, all of that together. You get just nicer neighborhoods and nicer place to be. So more in the way of some intangible things about Camas that I've noticed. There's an amazing sense of community. That's one of the things that happens when you live in a smaller place with only 23,000 people. We have an awesome lake that definitely brings people together and is kind of a bonding point. You can just go meet up with people there, and it's great. And another thing I've noticed about Camas is that people there are really nice. I do knock on people's doors from time to time. Like if my clients are interested in buying a house, I will go try and talk to 5 of the neighbors to just see what they think about the HOA, what they think about the neighbors, if they've had any issues, that kind of thing. And I will tell you that as a whole, the people I've talked to in Camas are nicer than other places. And I'm always really pleasantly surprised, and it's really welcoming. Another thing I will touch on about Camas is you've probably heard about the paper mill if you've done your research. So the paper mill in Camas has mostly been shut down. It does still operate, and there's like a couple hundred employees that work there, but it does not smell bad anymore. And for the longest time, you know, I would say about 2 decades ago and before that, it smelled really bad. It was really smoggy, and it was the poor man's place to live. It was not a nice place to live, but that is long gone, and now the city is beautiful. It smells great. And eventually the paper mill will go away. We will see when that does happen, but the paper mill once employed like 2,000 to 3,000 people back in the early 1900s. But the negative repercussions of that are gone now, which is awesome. So I think everything I just mentioned there was a pro. And as I was sitting down making this video, I was thinking, what am I saying for cons? I don't really have anything. I would say the biggest con of living in Camas is that it's expensive. Now, obviously, you can't get all of these nice things and not pay for it, so that's just kind of the way of the world. It's going to be expensive if it's the nicest place to live. But that's really my only con on the list. If you have any other cons you think are, you know, not great about living in Camas, you should drop them down below in the comments. But from the time that I have spent living and working here, it's really been a pleasant place to be as long as you can afford it. So hopefully that gives you a little bit better sense of what it is like here in Camas, Washington, what all the hype is about, and just kind of what it's like living here. And if you want to be the first to know about all things living in Vancouver and Camas, Washington, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. And if you want to keep up with me on a day-to-day basis, let's connect on Instagram at my name, Hannah Dubine, and I would love to chat with you there. If you are thinking about moving to Camas, Vancouver, or anywhere in Clark County, Washington, I would love to connect with you. So text me, call me, DM me, however you want to, talk to me, smoke signal, whatever, and I'd be happy to chat with you. Thanks for watching.